My name is Ray Lakers, R-A-Y-L-A-K-E-R-S, age 42, Des Moines, Iowa. Before I begin my presentation, first let me thank you for giving me another opportunity to testify in public that medical marijuana is beneficial to my health. Just as I suffer, many Iowans suffer who are too afraid to speak in public. That is why I'm here. God is my witness. My name is Ray Lakers, age 42. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2004. The first attack involved paralysis on the right side of my body. Being uninsured, I've accumulated over $9,000 in unpaid medical bills from the first year and a half of diagnosis, doctor visits, outpatient, and steroid treatments. In that time, I learned a lot about life, my life, how I would choose to live my life, and with therapy, I would treat myself with. In that time, I have managed to work full-time, and I've held the same position with 2 promotions in the last 3 years. I must be doing something right. Shattering every preconceived notion about medical marijuana patients that many of you of the opposition are all about. When I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2004, I was very fearful of my future and my health. I then learned that Montel Williams had been treating his condition with medical marijuana, and that Iowa resident Barbara Douglas, who is also the second person in Iowa that receives medical marijuana from our government, along with George McMahon, improved with miraculous results. I started to trust the way my body felt. Giving opiate painkillers left me lethargic, as do the steroid treatments, that leave me in a state where I'm unable to complete normal day-to-day functions like work and providing for my family. With marijuana being the safest therapeutically active substance known to man and safer than many of the foods we commonly eat, you haven't much reason to deny medical marijuana to anyone who claims to need it. We let people buy toxic acetaminophen over the counter in any amount they choose, to use anytime they choose, for any ailment they choose, without ever seeing a doctor or undergoing an examination. Yet people can overdose or die or suffer long-term health effects from acetaminophen. Just this year, it was determined 26% of those with liver ailments and failure used acetaminophen over a long period of time, either over-the-counter or with their prescription opiates. Now, this quote is from a letter I received from Iowa Senator Charles Grassley in 2006. Charles Grassley said, "The FDA has developed a careful, proven method for testing and approving drugs for medical use. The tests the FDA approved, that FDA-approved medicines undergo are both exhaustive and time-consuming. The testing methods are conducted to ensure safety, determine accurate doses, and to diagnose any potential harmful side effects." Well, Dr. Death Panel Grassley, how many FDA drugs are facing class action lawsuits over FDA-approved drugs? Many of these drugs include side effects like suicide. I will not take anything that contains a side effect that results in the end of my life or makes me less able to function on a day-to-day basis. Please educate yourself to know that medical marijuana is a doctor-patient decision and not a drug. Botanical cannabis is a therapeutic medicine used for over 2,000 years. Yet only illegal since 1937. Do yourself a favor and find out why. While we hold these hearings, in this time, patients are still at risk of arrest for the smallest amount. Someone suffering from Crohn's disease, cancer, AIDS, epilepsy, ALS, MS, fibromyalgia can be arrested, all because they made the choice to live a better quality of life and are subject to draconian marijuana laws and politicians who conduct themselves like walking death panels when making public comments about medical marijuana patients. One is in this room. If they only knew the pain we feel every time someone like Iowa State Rep. Claude Bogler openly endorses Oxycontin over medical marijuana. Does this man not know anything about prescription drug abuse and the deaths of young adults that is becoming an epidemic with annual death tolls? Some overdose from over-the-counter medications also. Please, I ask you to lose your fear of medical marijuana and to fear those in office or the medical profession who are against it. If you're asked Many of those who are against it, they can't give any other reason than reefer madness-induced myths that are being shattered as we sit and hold these hearings for the next 4 months. Be it science that has been introduced, being a living person, or a non-biased study now on your table, no other state went through a pharmacy review. It was always a public health board. Many drugs that you are in charge of at the pharmacy board aren't healthy for me, neither is jail. Iowa is again the first, again it's something. Thanks for putting us back on the map. If anything, it gives those on the opposition to reveal themselves. Because in 2010, to be against medical marijuana and compassionate care is political suicide. In states that do have working, successful medical marijuana programs, patients receive doctor recommendations, not prescriptions. Isn't the board of pharmacy about prescribed medicine? If my doctor recommended a ginseng root or any other therapeutic natural herb, she wouldn't need your permission. Why? Because I trust her recommendation, and knowing that this plant God created is safe for me. There's more harm in denying medical marijuana patients their choice than them using it. Save the smoke medicine is not healthy argument, because for me, I receive more therapeutic relief from using a vaporizer or cooking it in food. On top of it, there is no proven link to lung cancer and marijuana smoke. I believe you will find that among your stack of facts that were presented. And also, your gateway drug fears will be shattered along the way as well. From a fellow MS patient who turned 43 weeks ago, I got an email from him. He said, 3 days later, this is when he first started using medical marijuana as an alternative therapy. He said, 3 days later, I smoked my first joint. I had MS and my leg was cramping to the point that I could not straighten it. I was in pain to the point of tears. Think about having a Charlie horse that lasts for days. Well, the pot gave me some relief. I cannot stand out of my wheelchair I could stand out of my wheelchair for the first time in days. My pain lessened to the point I could think straight. Don't tell me about other drugs I could take. I've tried them. They don't work for me, and they leave me in a much more drugged out stupor than marijuana does. It is time to let the adults make the decisions for themselves. Why should I pay Big Pharma when I could grow the medicine myself? Well, my answer for you, my brother with MS, Big Pharmacy would rather you slowly kill yourself as long as they get paid. Their bottom line is all that really matters. And all of you who state that there's no such thing as medical marijuana, please research U.S. Patent 663-0507. You will find the owner none other than the U.S. government. Now, just this week, it's been revealed. I mean, chronic marijuana smokers' lungs are no worse than non-smokers. Marijuana, as a preventive medicine, may help the elderly with osteoporosis. And research, this is being done by arthritis research over in Europe. So, I mean, that's basically everything I have to say. But as far as somebody, that guy from the Elks or whatever, the Iowa Health Association that said about the National MS Society, okay, there's part of a reason why they won't, make a statement to endorse it. But why is the National MS Society of Great Britain and Canada endorsing medical marijuana for its patients?